So yeah, really cool conference from Nintendo. But like you mentioned, Breath of the Wild 2 is what stole the show. They announced that it's coming out in 2022, and they showed a little bit of like the gameplay. We're gonna get these new sky areas above, the Hyrule that we've seen in the first Breath of the Wild game. Link has a little bit of a different look. He has this almost, tech mechanical arm where he can siphon his powers through, kind of like how he did with the Sheikah Slate. And he has longer hair now. The game seems a little bit darker. It's just really kind of cool, and it kind of just goes toward the direction of, a lot of people thought that the original Breath of the Wild was in the Dark Zelda timeline, where Link fails, the hero fails. So it's kind of going to be interesting to see where this goes, especially with Skyward Sword kind of coming out this year as well. And the idea that there's these sky areas that are in this game kind of looks and brings a little reminiscence to what Skyward Sword did. So it's going to be interesting to see if those games connect in any way, and what the future of Zelda looks like. But yeah, you mentioned like this is your game of E3. Is 2022 too late for you? Do you want this right now, or do you like what you've seen from it so far, or did they not show enough?
I definitely like what I've seen so far. I'm just glad we got more than that one like 30-second clip we got in 2019, right? That was the last time anyone saw anything of the Breath of the Wild sequel, and that was 2 years ago. So I'm glad that we got more, and like you said, they showed off more. There's a sky area, which seems pretty cool. There's the Link kind of has like a Sheikah arm, and they showed some of his abilities, which are, I don't even know what to call them, like improvements, upgrades to his powers in the Breath of the Wild game. So it looks very interesting. I'm very interested to see the story behind it too. Like you said, this seems, a lot of people thought this was part of the dark storyline where the hero fails as opposed to one where the hero wins. So I'm really looking forward to see more from this. And the fact that it's coming out in 2022, that's fine with me. Like you said, there's a lot of games coming out for the rest of this year, right? There's Skyward Sword is coming out next month. Then the Metroid Dread game is coming out. Then the Pokemon remakes are coming out. Then Pokemon Legends of Arceus is coming out in the start of 2022. So there's a lot of games that will occupy my time from now until whenever this comes out. And one point you kind of brought up outside of the podcast, we were kind of messaging back and forth. If this comes out next year, let's say it comes out March next year, which is one of the rumored dates for the Nintendo Switch sequel to come out, I could really see this being advertised. And we mentioned this on our last podcast when we were speculating on what we might think to see from E3. I could see next March, Nintendo Switch Pro comes out alongside Breath of the Wild 2 or the Breath of the Wild sequel. And that upgraded console is going to allow this game to play smoother with better graphics, something that this current Switch won't allow. So I'm definitely interested to see more from whatever sort of gameplay changes, graphical change, whatever sort of changes they decide to make or they have made. And 2022 is fine as long as it's not like December 2022. As long as it's, let's say the first half of 2022, there's more than enough games from now until then to occupy me.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And yeah, Breath of the Wild looks great. I kind of, as much as it's not my game of the show, I completely agree with you. It is one of the best games of this E3. So overall for you, Breath of the Wild was your game of the show?
Yes.
All right. Well, so I'll just talk about my game of the show really quickly. It did not show up very much in a lot of these bigger conferences, but there is this one game that was shown off last year, I believe, with PlayStation, not during E3 because E3 didn't exist. And they showed some of media outlets, more of this game, and it's Kena, Bridge of Spirits. And this game looks amazing. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting is there was more shown. They showed the combat, and the way the creators kind of explained this game is it's like, okay, take an action adventure game, like Zelda. These are the guys that made that Majora's Mask fan film, so they love Zelda. And then combine the platforming of like a Tomb Raider. And, all of these, the fact that they have this experience with 3D animation, kind of combining all of these things together to make this really, really cool game. And obviously this is going to be a smaller game. The studio is called Embra Lab. It only consists of 14 people. And these are people who have not made a game before and actually learned how to make games, like in their spare time, because they are an animation studio. They make commercials, they make 3D animation. That's their expertise. And they just love games and they wanted to make one. But the more they show of this game, the more it kind of connects for me, and I just can't wait. It comes out in just about 2 months, just less than 2 months. And it's going to be on PS4, PS5, and Epic Game Store for PC. 100% going to pick this one up. From what I've seen so far, it looks really cool. And if anyone hasn't got a chance, I'd say check it out. There's some gameplay footage online right now, and also an interview with the two leads of this development team. So yeah, it looked really, really cool, and yeah, I definitely recommend people go check it out.
Yeah, I actually had no idea about that. I remember I've seen cinematics from the game, and I've seen some of the game before, and it's something very interesting to me, something I'm definitely looking forward to getting. I had no idea that they had a preview for it. They had interviews for it. I'm definitely gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, looks really cool.